Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Newcastle away, Newcastle versus Chelsea in the Premier League. The first thing I've got to say about this one is how on earth has this game somehow managed to be a 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday? Why is this not an early kickoff, a late kickoff, a Sunday, even a bloody Monday? It's because it's Newcastle away, it's a long way to travel, but still, this game should be televised for you lot in the UK, but it is a massive, massive game. Newcastle last season are where Chelsea want to be. Even right now, despite Newcastle only winning one of their last 5 Premier League matches, I think it is, we want to be around where Newcastle are. The European places, trying to clamber up the table, and Newcastle have got some struggles going into this game. They've had a lot of injuries. Bruno Guimaraes is back. He was playing for Brazil against Argentina and he left one in on Enzo Fernandez. So I'm calling this one right now. Keep an eye out for Bruno and Enzo in this game. I think it's going to be a battle, a tussle. And again, as I usually say with Chelsea, if we can gain control of that midfield, then I think we can absolutely go there and win this match. When we look at the recent form, if you take out, which is basically inside a sandwich at the moment, the Brentford at home, where we lost 2-0, is sandwiched in between 2 results that were really good. The Burnley win and the Arsenal draw, despite the circumstances, it's a good result, and the City draw and the Tottenham win. You take the Brentford result out of that, and Chelsea have been playing some really good football. My concern going into this game is that Newcastle play the best kind of football that Chelsea absolutely hate and we cannot deal with. The low block, sitting back, being patient, soaking up pressure is what Newcastle do so well. Before we talk about that in a little bit more detail though, I want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor. Football is now well and truly back underway in the Premier League and across the UK, and our friends at PARIMATCH UK are offering £40 in free bets. That's right, over at PARIMATCH UK, all you got to do is open a new account. This is for new customers only. Place a £10 bet on any footballing market with odds of even or above within the first 7 days of you joining PARIMATCH Online, and you guys will get yourselves £40 of free bets. Full terms and conditions apply, of course, with all the links that you need to get started in the description down below. Thank you very much to PARIMATCH again. Let's get back into the video. And we are back in the video. What we need to be super careful of here against Newcastle, when they've got so many injuries, I get the feeling that Eddie Howe might well be forced to kind of play into, well, it's not into Chelsea's hands whatsoever. It's the absolute opposite of that. Newcastle might not be able to play the fluid attacking football that they have slowly moulded into at St James's Park this season. We've seen them dismantle teams. We saw they absolutely dismantled Paris Saint-Germain. They've had some brilliant results at home. They've scored a lot of goals, which when you think about Newcastle, you think about a team that, first of all, defends really well. But so far this season, they've got players that have just been showing up, delivering the goods out of nowhere to make them a threat going forward as well. Eddie Howe's a top manager. This is a really tough game. When I look back and think about the Spurs game, the Arsenal game, the Manchester City game, I said here on GBFC that I think this match at Newcastle could well be the toughest of all of them. Brighton haven't won in 5 matches. Man United, they're the informed team in the league right now, but still, performances aren't there. This is the one that I'm worried about. If Chelsea can go to St James's Park tomorrow afternoon and get anything, I think I'd be happy. However, because of all the injuries, I think we can go there and get a result. I've been so buoyed during this international break by those performances against Spurs and Manchester City that I genuinely feel that Chelsea have turned a corner. I know I say this all the time. I know that you guys absolutely slate me to death for it because I get overconfident. I'm not saying that we're going to beat Newcastle, but I absolutely believe now, after all that I've seen, the form that certain players like Cole Palmer, Jackson even though I don't think he'll start, Jackson's been in such great form. We've also had Raheem Sterling once again showing just how brilliant he can be. in that City game. The players now need to go, even though there's been a big break between those good performances and results, we've got to carry this momentum forward. And I begin with my team for this game today. I've gone with a 4-3-3. I'm still deciding as we go through this who my striker is going to be. So stay tuned to the end of the video to find out who I've got up front. But of course, in goal is Robert Sanchez. I saw a statistic the other day talking about the short passes of Sanchez, and he's got apparently the best percentage for short pass completion rate in the Premier League, which surprised me. But it also is something that I've got to throw in here, apparently, because I quite often criticise his distribution. It's the long balls. It's the balls into the midfield and out to the fullbacks when they're wide and trying to push Chelsea up the pitch, and then we give away a throw-in. Those are the ones I'm talking about. But Sanchez is in goal. I think he's growing. I think he's growing in confidence. I think defenders are starting to feel a bit more confident with him behind them. We move into a back four. Reece James, Axel Disasi, Thiago Silva and Marc Cucurella keeping his place in left back. The big debate here for me was Levi Colwill. And when we look at just how brilliant, monumental, gargantuan Thiago Silva has been this season, you can't take him out of the team. I also look at the physical presence that Axel Disasi brings into this team against the Newcastle side, who despite injuries are going to offer a lot from set pieces. They're quick, they're tall, they're powerful, they don't leave anything to judge or waste with any of their tackles. We're going to need some heavy hitters in there. So Axel Disasi is the partner for Thiago Silva. I don't know what it is, right? Levi Colwill, he had a bad game against Spurs, but other than that, there's not really been anything major that's been negative. But for whatever reason, I've just got a feeling that Mauricio Pochettino, despite, yes, he was injured for the game against City, I just think at the moment, with all of these big games coming so thick and fast, I'm dripping in sweat right now. It's roasted in this room. I just think that Mauricio Pochettino will back Disasi alongside Thiago Silva. We may go with Benoit Badiashile. There's so many unanswered questions going into this game because I do think Newcastle pose such a unique threat to this Chelsea team, despite all of the positives that we've recently seen. Reece James being the right back, Chelsea's captain. Malo Gusto is a brilliant right back. I'm delighted that we've got him as a backup, but Reece is just levels. And I'm not just talking about above Gusto here, because that's an unfair comparison. He's just levels above anybody in that right back position. Kieran Trippier, brilliant right back for Newcastle, but Reece James is just there. And I've got a funny feeling that Reece James goes to St James's Park, and for whatever reason in my mind, I had a dream about this on Tuesday night, I've just got a feeling that Reece James scores. I know what you're saying. You're thinking, Benson, you just do go AWOL sometimes in these predictions and random little things. But if you're a long-term subscriber of the channel, you'll also know that quite often I get my Chelsea score predictions spot on in these match previews. So stay with me again until the end to find out the score. But Reece James is scoring again at St James's Park. We move into Chelsea's midfield three. Caicedo, Enzo, Gallagher. If you watched the video yesterday where I talk about the return of Christopher Nkunku for Chelsea, I do think it's going to be a bit too soon to see Nkunku come back and start this game. So, with that being said, this midfield trio that we have seen so much from in recent weeks continues. We're going to need the industry and the energy of Conor Gallagher. We're going to need Caicedo to step up with those big tackles, to break up that play. When Newcastle try and get it forward to those pacey wingers and forwards, I think Alexander Isak is someone that Chelsea really need to keep an eye on. Hopefully, he goes on the left and Reece James can pocket him the same way he did Jeremy Doku. Enzo Fernandez. This, for me, is a massive moment for Enzo. He was brilliant for Argentina against Brazil, where Argentina beat Brazil, their first home defeat in a World Cup qualifier ever. Insanity. Enzo was massive. Played 70 minutes. Could have had a couple of broken legs, but he gets away with it unscathed. Moises Caicedo also performing for Ecuador. This is the Chelsea midfield that, for me, makes it so difficult to think about what happens when Nkunku is back. And it does lead me to believe that when Nkunku is fully ready to be starting, then I think Nicholas Jackson just has to go, because the more I watch back that video yesterday, the more I think about Gallagher. I do think he's undroppable right now. We move into a front three. And I'm umming and ahhing about it even right now before I've even said anything here. But I think we stick with Jackson. I was going to start Armando Broja for this game because this is the time to do it. Jackson's girl's just had a baby. Great, congratulations. He's also been in Senegal for international duty. But he's just been in such good form. And I think he's the kind of character where even if a lot of stuff is going on off the field, it's all positive stuff. So I'm thinking that this is going to channel into him a little bit here. And I think that Jackson could put in a big performance. Cole Palmer on the right, Raheem Sterling on the left. There could be an opportunity here for Mudryk with all of those injuries and the chance maybe later on in the game to come off the bench if Newcastle are tired because they don't have options. Mudryk can hurt them from the bench, but Sterling, please bring me the Sterling that we saw against Manchester City. Don't bring me the half-assed, not involved in the game Sterling, because when Sterling is on form, Chelsea are brilliant. That is just a fact. Look at the way he's been this season. When he turns up, we're electrifying. When he doesn't, we're still looking around waiting for answers. So I think a lot hinges on what Raheem Sterling turns up for this game. So let me know your thoughts on this team in the comments down below. My score prediction, because I'm literally doused in sweat here, I need to get out of this room. I think we win this game 2-1. Reece James to score and a Cole Palmer penalty. I think we're going to get the result. If they didn't have as many injuries as they do, Newcastle United right now, I would take a draw. But I think this is one of those games where we've got to capitalise on our form, their injury crisis, and maybe Nkunku to come off the bench and really hurt them towards the end of the game. 2-1 Chelsea is what I'm saying. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll see you for 6 things we learned after the game tomorrow. Come on, you Blues.